Oh, welcome to this video. Thank you so much for tuning in and sharing in this now moment with myself and with one another. If you haven't seen these videos before, welcome, and welcome back if you have. My intention is unity and oneness in the highest levels of love light. I may have a little echo here, so apologies on the sound, but we'll find out how it sounds once we get going. And I want to talk a little bit about that. Some of the sounds that I make have to do with toning for my own frequency adjustments. So if you guys have watched these videos before, I just usually will share whatever tones or sounds are coming through. And I don't have any professional equipment other than this little microphone. So sometimes they sound a little funky when they come across, and they sound very different to me when I'm doing the toning. And if you feel guided, and I'm doing a lot of light language that comes through, and you feel like doing your own light language or toning, I invite you to play. Part of the reason I started these videos was to share my experience and how I've opened up in my extrasensory abilities to tap into my guides and higher self and messages that are coming through and just the universe in general. And part of it has to do with frequency, toning, sounds, movement. I don't share a lot of videos with my movements, and usually it'll start off by doing yoga, and then it'll go into like some Tai Chi type movements. So everybody has their own unique techniques or styles that allows them to feel relaxed or to essentially hone in to that home-based frequency. So I just wanted to kind of share a little bit of that, especially if you haven't seen these videos before. And I'm really invited every time just to get out of. So, without further ado, a little light language, a little toning.
Moko ene te wa shte kine hawa papa kuni wa a te ki ma o henea kine wa hoku e shte makune wa e na ki wu mak o hana te na ki mak o han o han na ki wa ha e shto wa kuna ku ene ki wa e shtu moko ene te ki. And as we allow ourselves to make our own inner adjustments, our own inner attunements, we allow ourselves to attune with, to at one with, to become at one with, to tune into a deeper resonance that allows us to sound out from that deeper resonance, resilience, this resounding feeling of oneness. We come back into a space of interconnectivity, inner centering, into the inner center that allows us to create from, to tune into that centered channel of ultimate awareness. Some of this is a play on words. I'm just seeing different things as I say this. It allows us to utilize our own central tuning station, if you will, to then tune out the decentralized stations. For example, it allows us to tune out the different frequencies that are merely distractions or old stations that are in the process of dying out, if you will. They are sputtering out their last echoes of existence, and we tune into a deeper resonancy, a deeper residency within our own inner harmonic structure. Ki makueshtek wahewa amkone te ishtek wahane. For there are many distractions that are all around us that are seeking to gather our energy, to gather our attention, so that we focus our attention on those outer frequencies. We then combine our frequencies and create a patterning, if you will. This becomes a habitual patterning for some. We are being invited to come back into our home base of our inner technology, our heart-centered awareness, our tuning fork, if you will, that allows us to diverge from the fork in the road and come back into oneness. For all of the choices that we make are then tuned into our higher receptibility in order to see past that which it is that we have chosen in the past, if you will. We allow ourselves to see in this deeper, I'm hearing respondent, I'm hearing receptacle. We allow ourselves, I'm hearing petal faster. And then I see the petals of this flower open faster with that center channel kind of tuning in. And again, I keep hearing this tuning fork, right? It allows us to see past the series of chain reactions. For many of us have been chained to an old system. I'm seeing this old car and we're like chained to the back of it and it's very slowly, sluggishly going in one direction, or we're pulling that car behind us and it's weighing us down. And I'm just basically seeing this as a symbol, like recognizing that we can break those chains at any time. And this allows us to tune back into our own strength. I'm hearing our own superconductivity, our own super, lots of things are coming in, so let me get back to. As we allow ourselves to tune in and break the chain with the old ways, I'm hearing tidings, which reminds me of value systems. We then allow ourselves to make a change. We allow ourselves to make change in order to fit into our own wallet, if you will. We then break down the walls and the barriers that have been keeping us locked into, I'm seeing Pink Floyd, Another Brick in the Wall, hearing that. We then build our own building blocks of our own material existence or maternal existence, or we go into our deeper maternal frequencies and energies. And this is all a play on words. I'm seeing internal, I'm seeing we mate. It's like that divine unification of feminine, masculine, the mate, and the inner child. I'm also seeing the mother frequencies, the Mother Earth, our maternal instincts. I'm seeing many different plays with us. It allows ourselves to feel into this new space that is being offered. It allows us to feel into the spaciousness. It allows us to come back to that which it is that we are internalizing. I'm being guided to play with this a little bit. So a lot of people are having this inner, they've been internalizing a lot of things and haven't processed it. So we're giving ourselves this motherly love and compassion. We're allowing ourselves to get to know us at a deeper level. And this, of course, allows us to then understand our needs better, because we're not tuning into what everybody else needs first. We're tuning into our own needs that then allows us to go out and see what it is that we can do to help others with whatever they might need as well. I'm seeing a lot of people who want to be of service, but they're not doing the inner work themselves. So this creates this, I'm hearing pitter patter, like there's all these thoughts going around in the brain, and this is keeping us away from tuning into our own resonance, our own tuning fork, our own ability to see our options and to recognize that when there comes a fork in the road, we don't necessarily have to choose a direction. We can kind of pull it back in and say, is this what I need to choose right now? This is being presented to me as a choice point, But is this something that I need to go with this or that right now? Maybe I just need to tune back into me and recognize that I'm just being shown these different opportunities. And then we are able to then make choices from this deeper centered awareness. But what I'm being guided to share is there's a lot of us who are forgetting or getting wrapped up in this, I'm hearing false sense of security. So we're finding this false sense of security by listening to other people's direction. And it's keeping us feeling like we have to stabilize through their belief system, through their energy, through their form of practices. But we have to find our own practice. So I said in the beginning about the sounds and the movement. It takes time sometimes from a linear perspective for us to be able to see what it is that we find joy in. And if, again, the guides are always saying, if you're not doing the inner work, then you're not able to find that centered channel. And then we come to that fork in the road when we have these opportunities and we don't know which direction to go because we're not used to listening to our heart. We're so stuck in our head sometimes, right? I think we've all been there. And so when we come back in and go, well, how does this feel? Like, how do we know how it feels if we're not used to tuning into how certain things make us feel? Because we're so used to feeling a certain way because we're tuning into those outer influences, if that makes sense. This allows us to tune into a broader bandwidth and to see that we don't necessarily only have these two choices. This fork in the road, essentially, allows us to take a step back and look at all of the, I'm hearing a more direct route. So rather than being like a splitter in an electrical wiring, we come back, we might split and then come back together, which is kind of what I'm seeing happening in the collective as well, right? Many people are going off in these different directions and they don't necessarily realize that there's actually a bigger choice that's available, but they're just not tuning into it. It's not making itself it doesn't feel available to them because they're not recognizing that it's an option or opportunity that is actually there. It's just not being seen or felt. And so we invite you to really tune into the harmonics right now of Earth as well. For the Earth Mother is tuning into you. She is providing what it is that you have asked for. And you are providing for her in the same way. Yet we are also being invited to recognize that this becomes a relationship. This guides you and assists you in how you steer your ship. I'm thinking of Carrie Ann and Candace here. It gives you the opportunity to slip into a deeper ocean of information. This information holds within it more choice points, more energy, higher frequencies, more opportunities for integration and stability, and a deeper opportunity for a longer wavelength of expression. For this increases our charge, if you will. It increases our ability to tune into a higher charge that is literally felt within the cellular matrix of our inner tunology, of our inner chronology, our endocrinity, our inner divinity, our endocrine system. Everything is then working together. This allows us to make the connections that have been otherwise I'm hearing unavailable to see. So it's not like they weren't there. We just weren't able to feel because our charge, I'm hearing, was sputtering out. So the long wave has to do with the longitudinal wave spectrum, that when we're in a place of centeredness, it's been referred to as bliss, but I always say bliss doesn't mean everything is sunshine and rainbows. It's just a consistent feeling, if you will, from one perspective of feeling balanced as an observer, as a witness, as an observer, go having an experience, being able to feel into this experience. And this is a play on words. Ooh, I'll have to go back and write this up. It allows us to tap into a deeper experience in resilience, in resonance. So this longitudinal wave, the longer we can keep it, the more charge we build up. For example, the more charge we have in our body, the faster we go. From one perspective, if we're going to look at this as linear. But the more charge we have in our body, the more light or capacity for light we are able to then hold, share, feel, access, remember. So, as we tune in to what the earth is offering and providing for us, we then acknowledge that she too is experiencing a lighter sense of being. We then tune into her truth, which assists us in finding our own inner truths, if you will, or the one truth. I'm hearing the one ring to rule them all, right? The centripetal force, that ring of harmony, of balance, of resiliency. Resiliency has kind of been a play on words I've been playing with a lot. So I'm hearing resounding silence. It's the inner sound behind the sound. We understand that this may sound very basic. By tuning into the earth, what does that mean? What does that feel like? And how does that really help me? We are being invited to look at the science behind this. We are being invited to look at the science behind grounding. We are being invited to look at our bodies as an electromagnetic pulse, if you will, of frequencies that is not truly in a solid form. And if we begin to recognize that our bodies are truly a constant metamorphosis, and this is a play on words, of changing variations of frequencies, bandwidths. I'm hearing plasma recognition, inner diversity. We're constantly responding to our environment, for we are not solidified, if you will, in a solid state of being, even though we think we are. For that is what we think we see from one perspective. I'm hearing neither is Mother Earth. So Mother Earth is constantly in flux and changing, and we're essentially assisting each other. We then stabilize our own frequencies by recognizing that we are working together in our own divine merge, if you will, and divine marriage of all of the chemical and beyond elemental energies and frequencies that is held within our own body. This is too held within Mother Earth. And the more we recognize that as we communicate with our bodies, we also communicate with the body of Mother Earth, for all is connected. This is the planet, the logos, if you will, the mother that we have chosen, and she has as well, to host us, that we have chosen to be in a relationship with. For without her, we are not in existence on an earthly realm. So, the more we tune into this by putting our barefoot feet on the ground, skin to skin contact, by swimming in the waters, by using our intention to bring water into our body as a living life force, By channeling through our divine channeled network connected to source, we then allow ourselves to access a wellspring of information, knowledge, source codes, activations, understandings, and a higher sense of balance, bliss, and harmonization that then allows us to make the choices from a harmonized, unified expression and experience that allows us to make the choices that will be best in tune with all of our opportunities that are available to us. It allows us to see past the limited perspective or the limited view when we are disconnected. For when we are disconnected from our bodies, the planet that we exist on and with, the nutrients and elements that we are constantly absorbing and bringing into our bodies, when we are disconnected from that, it is more difficult and challenging to find our connection with all of the existence. I'm seeing all of our brothers and sisters, the animals, the plants. It's just creates a disconnect in everything. And I keep seeing, again, it splits us apart. We're separate, we're separate, we're separate. And pretty soon, it's difficult, I'm hearing that Humpty Dumpty, to put the pieces back together. For we're splitting ourselves, we're splitting our energy, therefore we're splitting the charge and our electrical energy into all these different places, and we haven't plugged back in to charge our battery. And then I'm hearing battery, so it makes us feel battered and worn. And I'm seeing it feels like we're constantly in this state of fight. Battered up, beat up, because we're in a space of fight or flight. And I'm being guided just to remind everybody that grounding and connecting to the earth and being back into just like, okay, I'm breathing. And it allows us to then stop. I'm hearing stop, hammer time. Put the hammer down. I'm hearing Thor's hammer. So if we think of Thor's hammer and play with that a little bit, it's our power, right? It's a connection to electricity. I think it has something to do with the shape too. And it allows us, I'm hearing, don't forget about the dance. It allows us to dance and interact with all of these things and recognize there's a lot more than what we think is right in front of us that's a fork in the road. If you look at the synapses in the brain is what I'm being shown. There's many forks going into all these different places, and they're all connected with these different, let's say, choice points or nodes. So that fork in the road is, I'm just being guided to share this because a lot of people are being presented with different choices right now. How do I respond to this? How do I choose this? I may have to move. I may have to change jobs. This relationship is feeling like it's a dead end. But then that might be a choice that we think we have to make, but sometimes it's because we're so scattered that we're not able to access the answers. Because what I'm hearing is the answers are coming in. And I'm being guided to talk about Thor. So in the movie, the Marvel Comics, it's whoever is worthy, right, and I'm probably going to run out of time here, so apologies if I do, but it's that feeling of worthiness. So part of us feeling worthy is we may not feel worthy that we have that charge, that we're in charge and we can make our own choices. Some people need other people to feel that they need others to make the choice for them. Because that feeling of unworthiness, they can't draw the hammer to them. They can't draw their own inner power because they're not feeling their own inner channeled network to source and to earth, that then allows them to stabilize their own frequencies, right? So it's that energy is really, the earth is sharing all of this. We're uploading it. We're getting downloads, but we're also uploading it from the earth, and it becomes this divine merge and marriage as above, so below, right? As within, so without. And so this allows us to then spin our frequencies and draw to us and express from ourselves from this centered awareness and presence. And again, presence. It allows us to see the presentation. It allows to offer a more balanced presentation to others. It allows us to open our presents, our gifts. It allows us to just come back into, okay, I'm okay in this now moment. 5 minutes later, okay, I'm okay right now in this now moment. And be in that now moment, now, rather than being so scattered that one fork in the road, or maybe 3 forks in the road, is really keeping us from being able to fully align ourselves. Because it's the opposite. We align ourselves, then we make the choice. Many of us are making the choices and then going, well, how did I get here? Or how do I get back to feeling aligned with who I really am? And again, we're still in this space of this lion's gate, which everybody's calling it. I see it as an 8. I see it as an infinity sign. I see it being at that center of the infinity. We can call it a node or a portal, if you will, in which we've asked for things. We've set intentions, and here we are. Are we feeling worthy in order to receive? Are we opening in order to receive? And are we acknowledging that we are receiving and sharing, therefore, with others? And so on and so forth, and with Mother Earth. So I'm going to end on that note. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and sharing in this now moment. In love and light, namaste.